can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
And I want to welcome you to the Integrity Investing Podcast with Margaret Wittkopp, and her company is a registered investment advisory firm, and she is the owner and the founder of that advisory firm. And without too much chitter chatter, Margaret, I want to welcome you and welcome you to tell us open our eyes on this podcast. That's what I'm looking to do today, and I think a lot of people watching would be looking for that too. So let me start off by asking you, I want to ask you a question about your career. And my question is, how long have you been in the investment industry?
Well, from the look of me, you might be able to guess. I've been in the business since 1992, so well over 30 years. 92, I was investing with a firm, and I was solicited or recruited at that time to become an advisor with that firm. So that's how that happened. And I studied for my Series 7 and took over an office and went into business.
But I mean, your career has expanded over that in the investment industry. So you've been exposed to a lot of what's going on in that world of investing. So
that's right.
At what point, now you broke away you were working with one of the large houses. We won't mention the name on here, but you had an epiphany. Something changed and you left there and started your own firm. And how long ago was that?
Let me tell the story. I think that's really, really important for people to know where a person's coming from. Yeah, I had really trusted in this company like many people do. You know, they put their money with big companies. They think they're doing the right thing. They think they're nice guys, nice gals, all that. And I found that they were lying to us. In 2004, excuse me. I had been with them for over 10 years. And an attorney general brought a lawsuit against the investment industry over a thing called revenue sharing. I'll explain that in a minute. But this issue was a kickback. And I was like aghast, shall we say. Is that a good word? Aghast.
So you didn't even know about it, right? At that time?
No. And they always talked about full disclosure. And all I could think of in the moment when this was told to us or it came out. And of course, I didn't realize it at the time. However, all sorts of brokerage firms were being sued over this same issue. And so I said, well, what part of full disclosure does that belong to? You know, that really did not sit well. And I really was taken out of the game, if you would. I didn't know what to do. I thought I had been doing the right thing for people. But it just opened my eyes that there was a lot of non-disclosure, deceitfulness, and I went seeking the truth. Mm-hmm. So I named my company Veritas because it's not about myself. You know, many of these firms name themselves after themselves. I didn't like that idea, but I wanted something that indicated what we were about. So I named the company Veritas. Veritas is Latin for truth. So we seek the truth of investing. We seek the truth so that we can help clients and empower them to become better investors, to have more, peace of mind around their money and investing and what the whole thing is about. And so that's what you and I are going to talk about.
You had clients that were trusting you, so you couldn't continue to lead them down that pathway. if
Exactly.
you
At
felt
least
there
I
were,
could. Some people could. I had lots of friends who just put the blinders on, right?
yeah, yeah,
Just borrow for, do it for the money. And it didn't sit well for me to do that. I just couldn't. The big decision I felt I needed to make was whether I stayed in the investment industry at all. But
right.
once I went seeking the truth, I realized that there was a way to
Uh-huh.
help people. And a lot of people do really rely on you.
Right.
And that is one of the greatest rewards in this business, but it's also a double-edged sword because, you want to be doing the right thing for people. So we went
Yeah.
down the road of becoming a fiduciary as a registered investment advisor, and you're expected to be a fiduciary, but we can talk about that word too in a little bit.
Sure.
Like, who really is a fiduciary? A lot of people use that word.
Yes, they
There's got
do,
to
and
be
I
some
think it's
yeah, and
it
then
can,
there's got to be some criteria, right? You
it
got
can
to
be
have some. Well,
overused. It can
how do
be
you figure it out?
misused.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
let's
So getting back to the story, I made a decision to go independent, which allowed me to
yep,
seek the truth of investing, not just follow along with the crowd of, do what I was told to do by the big firm. And it led me on a pathway. And in the process of that pathway, I took a class in modern portfolio theory from a young man, and his name is Mark Mattson. This young man, he was young, and that's back now, almost 20 years.
right.
So, yeah, not quite, but almost 20 years ago. And I was just blown away by what I did not know.
Mhm.
I
So
was just floored
let me ask you a
with the
question. So if
impact. Sure.
this was what prompted you to exit what we call the default side of the investing world, this this
Well,
disclosure, this
yes.
discovery that you made and learned about, caused you, there was enough there that you exited and started your own company from there.
Well,
It's
actually, a little bit different than that, Jim. I left and then I found the truth. I mean, I couldn't find the
okay,
truth where I
gotcha,
was. And
gotcha. Okay,
all I knew was that they weren't telling me the truth. They were lying to me. They were talking out of both sides of their mouth.
okay,
So I knew that was wrong.
right.
I knew I couldn't live in that world where people tell you one thing and do another.
So is that where you came into contact with this, what we call the scientific world of investing
There
and the
you go.
integrity world of investing? You came in.
Yes. And
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
You
And
discovered
so
there
in
was
that,
another pathway and a safer pathway and a pathway that had substance behind it, right? Am I
yes,
correct?
academic principles that have won Nobel Prizes, have been acknowledged, have been empirically tested. What does that mean? It means they've been put to the test over long periods of time, and you can see the results.
Yeah. Yeah.
Portfolios that are built to last.
Yes.
The we can get into all of that as we continue our conversation. But
So,
yeah, the first thing I did, Jim, was I had taken this class from this young man, and it was basically all about the science of investing. And that's what blew me away. I mean, by that I mean I was like dumbfounded that I had been in the industry. I thought I knew what I was doing. I
mhm,
thought I was doing the right thing for people. And then I realized I knew very little about the science of investing. In fact, I didn't even know the terminology. I was, they don't educate, they train you to sell stuff. So
yes.
let's make the
Yes.
first distinction between the default investment industry. The default for the investor is to live in this world, a world that is created by the investment industry, which is made up of brokerage firms, et cetera, et cetera. Okay?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
typical thing that most people have to deal with is a world in which they apply very little of the science. They might use the words like fiduciary. They might use the word diversification. They might use the word risk, reward, but they aren't applying the actual science of it.
Sure.
They don't have a clue. And that nice guy or nice gal that you're dealing with that's working for some big firm, they don't have a clue. They're trained to sell stuff. That was one of the first things that became very clear. There's a big difference between being educated or trained to sell stuff. Are you educated in the science? Are you educated in how to apply the science of investing? Or are you just trained to sell stuff and make money?
Is that why so many people just park their money with an advisor, a so-called advisor, to park their money and then just leave it and hope that advisor is doing the very best with their investment?
Think about it, Jim.
Yeah.
Think about it, Jim. If you don't have any clue, if you're going into this world and it's basically a very chaotic world, a world of chaos, a world of speculating and gambling with your money, everything is based on a prediction.
Yes.
A prediction about the future.
Right.
And yet common sense tells us, we all know that no one can predict the future. And yet they've created this illusion that somehow somebody can. So what happens to the basic investor, our friends whom hopefully are listening to this, who want some clarity, is that they're in this world of chaos that makes no sense at all. And they're just hoping that they pick the right firm or the right guy or the right mutual fund or the right stock now. And, they're so to be able to exist in that, they do just sort of kind of park it, if you, like you said.
Oftentimes,
they're not educated in.
Oftentimes, the selection of who they put that money in may also be as much in the dark as you were. So they're gambling and speculating with, maybe it's a brother-in-law, maybe it's a sister-in-law, maybe it's a friend from college, or maybe it's a high school buddy or somebody that you would trust who would always be doing the right thing with your investment money. And that isn't always the way it is it?
That's for sure. Yeah, there's more to it than just trusting someone.
So why are so many people today caught up in that default side of the investing and
because
not searching out?
That's the world they know.
Yeah.
That is the predominant investment model, if you would. That's the world view. It's the default. That's why we call it the default. You don't know anything else. So it is what is. If you know nothing else, if a fish is swimming in water, can they differentiate between water and air?
That's good analogy. Yeah.
They're swimming in water. Right. And a bird flies in the air. Right. So,
it doesn't know it's flying.
Yeah, exactly.
So in other words, it's exactly. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Is that a good way?
You don't know what you don't know, and even what you do think you know, maybe not so.
Right.
It probably isn't so. How do you like that for a tongue twister? But that's the world that has been created so that people, investors, whether you're investing in a 401k, all you're doing is putting money in out of your paycheck. You don't pay any attention to it. You pick something, some dated thing. Oh, I'm going to retire by X, and you just kind of not what we would call talk about default to some predetermined portfolio that somebody else came up with, etc. Okay, that's
the only skin the investor has in the game is their money.
Well, the sad thing is they work hard for their money, and they should have a lot more say about it.
Yes.
So what is our purpose here today? Our purpose is to try to shed some light on this, to help you start to question what's going on in your investing life, because that money is intended for your use. It's intended to give you peace of mind, intended for your retirement or sending a kid to college or something, or other schooling or whatever, or vacation. Could be fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's your life. And that's an interesting part about all of this, is that, as much as it's just money, right? That's how people say it. Oh, it's just money. Well, money weaves itself in and out of our lives, in everything we do, every decision, every relationship. Everything about our lives is touched by our relationship with money, whether we feel we have enough or don't have enough, whether we got to work hard for it,
Right.
whether it comes easy or easy come, easy go. I mean, there's so much involved when it comes to this whole subject of money and investing.
And so many people are worried that they may outlive their investment money.
Oh,
That
that's,
it might
yeah,
not last.
we really should do a whole podcast on that.
We will.
As we continue to talk about this issue of integrity.
Yeah.
Does it work? Integrity, does it work? Not integrity from a moral standpoint. We're talking about integrity. Does it work for you?
Right. And
Does
this
what you are doing now actually give you peace of mind and confidence moving forward?
Yes.
Or are you constantly worried? Are you constantly, or by, like you said before, they just park it and don't think about it? I mean, we see all kinds of people. Some people are very worried. Some people are not worried. They're not worried because they just don't want to think about it, or don't think they can think about it. My purpose is to empower the investor, to eliminate speculating and gambling from the investing process, to empower them to make decisions so that they can feel confident that the people that are working for them, where their money is going to get them where they need to be, whether it's a little or a lot.
And that's what these podcasts that we're doing are designed to show people the difference, the comparison, and to show them why the scientific is what it is and the default is what it is. There's two different worlds, and I think we're going to be able to disclose that as we go forward with these podcasts. Margaret, I think we want to save some more information for the next podcast, but I want to thank you very much because I think we got out the start of exposing the two worlds of investing, and people will know why they're in one or the other by choice.
Yeah, they'll be able to identify where they're at now, and then they can make a clear decision.
Yes.
For most people, they can't even make a clear decision because they know nothing other than what they are being presented with. They're like a fish in water, and they don't know anything about air.
Thank you so much today, and I will be back. And folks will be able to watch these podcasts or listen to them on your YouTube channel, and we'll disclose how to get there so people will know how to access that and maybe watch these again. Okay. Thank you so much for the information today, Margaret. It's been a good one.
Thank you, Jim. Always fun to have a good conversation.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright